talking running back once again on today's Cowboys Report. Most notably-ish, a report out of Denver, by the way, says the Cowboys could be in the market for running backs. That kind of came into a Javonte Williams conversation for them. The report was that could come via a release at roster cutdown time, or they trade for somebody as well. Now, that's not really new information. I think it is interesting, curious maybe, to have it come out of Denver. That had been reported by other outlets. So I don't know if that's truly credible reporting or, mentioning it and, printing up sources, whatever it is. We've heard it before, so it is worth mentioning. Because the Cowboys need running back help. This team is gassing up Royce Freeman as a great RB3, and that's where we're at. I don't like that. He can help you on special teams, great. Rico Dowdle, I think, is still probably your best running back on the roster. I think this team right now views Zeke as their lead back, and I have doubts about that. I have doubts about him being a true lead back in 2024. I would love to find another back, ideally an explosive player, or a guy that can take on a little bit more workload than what I want to give Zeke and Dowdle and all those other guys on the roster right now. But will the Cowboys do that? Will they add a back before week 1? 1 for yes, they will. 0 for no, they will not. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Now, as part of that report from out of Denver, from Cecil, the 3 names were mentioned. Khalil Herbert, Javonte Williams, of note because it's a Denver guy, and Myles Gaskin. Let's begin with Williams, who I would have interest in adding. Sure, let's do it. Maybe he can get back to 2021 form. He missed most of 2022 with a torn ACL and wasn't the same coming back in 2023. I do think he'll be better this year. And I also don't think he's actually available. Guess who's taken the reps with the 1 so far at training camp for Denver? Javonte Williams. And there'd been the report of, hey, there's 1 spot available between Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine because Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime are going to make the team. That might be true. It's going to be Javonte over Perine. He's better. Samaje Perine is, I don't know, I feel like he somehow ends up being like some type of boogeyman for NFL teams. We got to make room for Perine. But why? He's not actually that good. Denver and Cincy have fallen for this. He's like a fine third down back. I have that already in Dallas. I don't think Williams is available. I could see Herbert being available. Now, that would require Roschon Johnson beating him out for RB2, and then they go with Travis Homer or DJ Dallas, I forget which former Seahawks back is in Chicago these days, as the third down back, and we see how that all ends up playing out. But I just have some question marks if he's going to be available. If he is, I have interest. He fits my early down running back need. Not a great third down back. I have guys who can do that stuff, though. Over to Minnesota, where Cecil Lammey mentioned Myles Gaskin. And I think he gets cut in Minnesota. Do you know why I think he gets cut in Minnesota? Because he's not very good. I'm sorry. He barely played last year with special team stuff only. He had 10 carries for 26 yards in 2022. He was wildly inefficient in 2021 and was enough efficient in 2020. Hey, is he better than Zeke Elliott? I don't think so, actually. I'm not adding a back who's worse than Zeke Elliott and it already has a couple of years of tear on his legs. So I want you guys to name a running back who you want to trade for. Drop that player name for me in the comment section of today's show. What running back do you want the Dallas Cowboys to acquire? Now, SB Nation, kind of piggybacking off of that report, Blogging the Boys, had 5 possible trade targets that they think Dallas could consider pursuing, could find a way to add, etc. So I wanted to break them down here as part of today's show. Now, the first name they mentioned was Khalil Herbert. And, it doesn't make any sense to go over Herbert again, so we'll jump to Rashaad Penny. I get the mindset here. Putting a Carolina running back does make sense because they have Jonathan Brooks. He's currently on the NFL list. He'll be back, and he'll be available soon. Chuba Hubbard earned the RB2 role last year. He'll be available. Miles Sanders, I'm not trading for him. I don't think they cut him. Kind of caught in a weird spot. Raheem Blackshear offers good special teams value. He might get to stick around. Penny might be the odd man out. He was also available as of, around draft time. They picked him up later. Cowboys could have had him. So to trade for a player, give up an asset for, who you could have signed around the same time you signed Zeke, I actually don't buy that. Because then why didn't you just sign him in the first place? Right? Like, if you want to put Sanders or Hubbard on here, sure. I'm not trading for Sanders, but sure. Also, Penny, when he has played, efficient. Sometimes. I mean, 6 yards to 3 yards. Again, small sample size can do that kind of stuff to you. I thought he was going to have a big year in Philadelphia. He did not. It's a red flag. Today's show is made possible by Rocket Money. Avoid red flags with your spending and make sure you're not wasting money on things you don't use. Most Americans think they spend about $62 a month on subscriptions. But get this, the real number, more like $300. That is thousands of dollars per year, half of which you might have forgotten about. That's why I love Rocket Money. They found a bunch of subscriptions I'd forgotten about and helped me cancel the ones I didn't want anymore. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps lower your bills, all in one place so you can grow your savings. You have full control over your subscriptions and a clear view of your expenses as well. Rocket Money has over 5 million users, and it's a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. That's rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. But one more time, in case you just need to hear it again, it's rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. Next up is Jeff Wilson Jr. You'll notice some of these names we've discussed before because they're good names to have conversations about. Wilson is a local-ish. He went to North Texas. He's a solid backup running back. He's been a bigger workload guy back in 2022. Wasn't as involved in 2023 with the Dolphins. It was kind of funny that as the Dolphins or Niners were making trades, they send Wilson out to Miami, and he was actually pretty good in Miami. And then Raheem Mostert got healthy. This guy named Devon Achane came available. I don't think he's going to average 4.6 yards per carry in the Cowboys offense. That's not, the schematics are too different in terms of what Mike McDaniel was able to do. He can get 4.3, I think. And Raheem Mostert's making that roster in Miami. Devon Achane's making that roster in Miami. Jalen Wright's making that roster in Miami. Are they going to carry 4 backs? If not, or if so, that's Jeff Wilson, Savon Ahmed, and Chris Brooks, who played snaps for Miami last year. They got 6 NFL backs on that roster. Whether it's a trade or a release, I would absolutely be monitoring the waiver wire coming out of Miami because somebody decent will be available. Now, maybe you don't want to trade for a back. Maybe you just want to sign somebody. So when it comes to a trade for a running back in Dallas, do you want to make that deal? Y for yes, N for no. Let's go to Kendre Miller of the Saints. This would be interesting because I have my doubts he's available. Miller needs to stay healthy first and foremost. He missed a lot of time last year with the Saints. He wasn't out there a ton, only played a handful of snaps. It was 8 games total, under 4 yards per carry. The Saints' offensive line wasn't exactly the greatest. They had some problems there. He was also a third-round pick. And most teams don't bail on a third-round pick quite that quickly. And the explanation was like, they like Jordan Mims. Okay. Over a third-round pick in Kendre Miller? Like, the Cowboys have extra 5s and 6s that they could trade one of them if they wanted to. Would the Saints take a 5 or a 6 for Kendre Miller? I don't know if they would, given the fact that Alvin Kamara is probably in his last year in New Orleans, and Jamal Williams also might not be back. So they're kind of banking on Miller being the guy next year, I think. I would be surprised if he was actually available. I do think Dallas would have interest, though. So when Dallas makes moves, even if it's not the moves that we want, we'll have a video or videos on it for you. Did it at home over the weekend with the Sam Williams injury news. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Next up is my guy, Israel Abanikanda. We've spent time on him. I'm not going to go overly in-depth on it. He offers athletic juice, the way other players that are available do not have. So I think that fits and complements the Cowboys running back room pretty well. One more name, Dameon Pierce once again. Now, Bleacher Report suggesting this trade idea. They had one move each NFL team should make, and it was Cowboys trade for Dameon Pierce. They did include a trade idea, which I appreciate because, sometimes the outlets just don't do that, and it's frustrating to see it not happen from that perspective. So here is the trade idea. The Cowboys get Dameon Pierce, obviously. The Texans get a 6th-round pick. I'll hold off on my thoughts. What would you guys do? Would you do that trade? T for yep, you're signing off on it. You're trading a 6th-round pick for Dameon Pierce. P for nope. You don't think he's worth it for whatever reason, or you don't think they need another running back, whatever it is. T for trade, P for pass. I think the biggest issue you run into here, I don't think he's available. I know that's been a hot rumor, but Joe Mixon is banged up again in Houston. He hasn't been playing very much lately. He hasn't been practicing very much lately. And behind him, it's Cam Akers and Jawar Jordan. Booch was like, it's been a 6th-round pick on a guy. So? 6th-round pick. He can't be your RB2 unless he balls out. Other guys are special teamers. So I actually do not believe that Pierce is available. I do a 6th-round pick for him, even though he struggled last year. He took a major step back after being a nice surprise in year 1. He struggled. He got outplayed significantly by Devin Singletary. I think that was a red flag and an issue for teams, or for the Texans. I don't think they're going to bail on him quite yet, though. So I get that's a popular rumor idea out there. I have my doubts that it actually goes down.